Hello everyone, I'm Eva Yoo, reporter at TechCrunch, and today we're with Thibaud.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yes, in back market office. So he will walk us through the how back market works. And so, hi Thibaud.
Hi.
It's good to see you in Paris. So could you please tell us about back market?
Yeah, sure. So Back Market is a leading marketplace dedicated for refurbished devices. It's actually been the leading platform in the Europe. And now it's been growing really fast in the US as well lately, over the past year. So the vision of Back Market is to bring to the customer a way to consume easily tech product that has been refurbished. So it means that they are as good as new. Even if they have been used once, professionals have treated them, they have checked them, and they have replaced the obsolete pieces before they sell them through Back Market. And it gives a possibility to the customer to access to a tech device 2 times cheaper than the same new device, but with warranty that he wouldn't have on the used classic devices. And the vision of Back Market has always been to create a reflex of consumption. We want to seek in the people's mind that, okay, we need tech devices, everybody wants new tech devices, but let's think about maybe refurbished devices first, instead of buying a new product, because it's cheaper and it's got warranty, but also because it makes more sense for the environment and the planet we are all living on, because those devices, the longest they live and the more we consume them, the less the impact on the environment is. So that's the point of Back Market.
How big is the market? I mean, I know there are so many devices that people later kind of discard, but how big is the market and how did you find it?
So the market is really huge because the market concerns all the tech devices in the world. It's not well documented. You have some studies on the smartphones, which is the most refurbished product. In 2017, it's over 50 billion that we are talking about. $50 billion we are talking about. So, and it's been growing. What's interesting, it's growing really fast. New devices, the market is growing from 2% year on year. And for refurbished product, it's 13%, so 4 times bigger growth than the new devices. So it's great because it's already big, but it's really booming. And it's not a surprise. It's a sense of history because in every industry we need to make more with less resources, and that's exactly what refurbish product is about. It's not because we use the produced one that we can't keep using it. I mean, some other people would be interesting to use the device maybe if you don't want to anymore. So Back Market has been organizing this market in Europe and now in the US as well for the past 4 years, and it's a really exciting challenge for us.
Mm-hmm. So why should it be Back Market to get into the market? I mean, what's the specialty of the company?
The specialty of the company, it's that we are the first one dedicated only for refurbished products. I think you can't buy safely through a generalist platform. You need to have a specialist to make the curation and to select the right professionals and the right offer for the customer. Because what we want is to bring to the customer a clear and safety way of buying the product and make sure the warranties are applied to the product. There is always a stress for the customer when he buys a used device, because it's expensive and it's always like, okay, I'm spending $300 in this device, and what if it doesn't work in a month or two? Well, with refurbished product, you don't have this stress anymore because products are warranted, and it's coming from a professional and serious company that we are curating, we are selecting, and we are auditing. And generalist platforms, they can't do this selection and curation job specifically on professional refurbished product. They're allowed to sell new product, used, refurbished, whatsoever. So it's a specialist job. That's my answer.
Mm-hmm. So what's your background and how did you decide to start the company?
Actually, we decided to create the company maybe 5 years ago. I got the idea because I was working on the internet. I was helping manufacturers and distributors to sell their product online on marketplaces such as Amazon, eBay, or every marketplaces that we all know. Mm-hmm. And I had 4 refurbishing factories. I was helping to sell their product on generalist marketplaces, and I kind of saw the light when I visited them physically in their warehouses. I saw all the processes and the way they operated the devices, the ways they changed the batteries, and they are like surgeons of tech. And I was like, I realized that there is a real gap between all the value they are bringing to these devices, and the customer doesn't know anything about that. He's just buying on the internet on a generalist product page, So I figured, okay, you are bringing so much value. It's a shame that we are selling your product just as used. Let's bring awareness to the customer because you are bringing so much value. I'm sure people are going to be interested in paying less, having warranties, and buy differently, buy in a good way, in a way that makes sense. A reconsume product is interesting, and this is how the idea came from. And after that, I got lucky that I met my 2 co-founders. One is a lead tech backend developers, and he was really interested in the idea as well of building back market, the one-stop shop for refurbished devices. We knew exactly how to build the marketplace. We knew the challenges of the industry, to make the right curation, select the right professionals. And then we met the 3rd co-founder, Vianney, and he's the guy that knows the pain of the customers, and he's been working previously from growing back market in a advertising agency, always thinking about like what are the pain of the people, what people wants and needs to see. So he kind of built all the end user experience, and the 3 co-founders are really different within back market, and I think that's the cocktail that helped us to launch and to grow that fast until today.
So I'm really curious about like life cycle of a smartphone or just phones.
Yeah.
Like if it gets refurbished and sold on back market, that's very good. But like, what if a phone is a so old model, nobody wants it, and it cannot be even furnished? Then what happens to it? Like.
So the refurbished factories we are working with. If a phone doesn't have a demand anymore from the grand public, which happens quite a few times because many people are asking just for a phone that you can text and you can call. So it happens in a few times, but it happens. And in that case, we make sure that they are recycling the old components and the old smartphones. But what's important is to make sure that it goes first to does it make sense to refurbish it? Is there going to be someone out there in this world that is going to want this product again? And if the answer is yes, make sure it's refurbished and sold again. If it's not the case, then make sure it's recycled. But first think refurbish and then think recycle. People tends to think about recycling right away. I don't need to use it. Okay, let's recycle. I think we are changing this with back markets and saying, okay, people, we can first refurbish. It makes sense, for economically, for the consumer and for the planet. And if it doesn't, then recycle.
Say, for example, Africa, because I heard in Africa the demand for smartphone is very low, so they still stick to 2G phones. That's what I heard. So, I mean, that could be possibly a market. And do you...
Definitely, we see a lot of incoming connections and demand from Africa and emerging countries in general. We can't address it right now because we are really focused on the US development. And the growth is really high, so we have to be focused on this market and also on Europe. But Africa is definitely in our minds because, as you mentioned, they are dealing with 2G phones still, and some smartphones that don't have demand anymore in Europe or in the US definitely have demand in Africa.
Yes.
So we are thinking about the next bridges we are going to make between this market, because our vision again at back market is to make those products circulate as long as possible. So it's definitely something that we have in mind.
Yeah, talking about the expansion. Yeah, you just mentioned that you expanded to US, but do you see any competitors doing the same thing in other countries?
Actually, no, and I think we can be proud of that. We are the first one to build the one vertical marketplace dedicated for refurbished devices, and we didn't copy any US company or Asian company. These ideas have been coming out from here, from us. What we see expanding internationally, because we're in 6 countries right now, is that there is a real demand for our platform everywhere. So we are leading in Europe. We are in process to be the leader in the US. It's growing really fast there as well. What we want is to make it right. So it's mostly an execution question right now that we have to deal with. But yeah, our priority is crystal clear.
So what are those 6 countries?
The 6 countries are France, Spain, Germany, Italy and Belgium in Europe, and the US markets. So
they have to ship their phones to, say, your factories.
So basically our factories, most of our factories, they already have deals with carriers, for example, or they have shops in the street, so they access to the customer, and they are buying from the customer their old smartphones if they want to swap or if they want to upgrade to the next model. They are getting the old one, and then they refurbish them, and then they sell them through back market platform.
That's very good way to do it. So you're talking to carrier companies.
We are talking to carrier company, but carriers are not selling directly. They are getting a lot of trading directly from the customer, and then they sell to the refurbishing factories that are selling on the platform.
That's very interesting. So you're not directly talking to carrier companies, but you're talking to the factories that you work with.
Yeah, actually, we are talking to carriers, but they are not the one selling directly to the platform, because they don't have the refurbished facilities, and they have built strong relationship with refurbish ecosystem, and all this ecosystem is working and selling through back market.
So can you name some of the companies that you're partnering with, like in terms of like telecom or carrier companies?
We have a relationship with carriers in Canada, in the US, in France, and in the UK as well. So we know each other, and they're really interested because they want to make the best offer to trade in the old smartphone to the customer so they can sell them a new one. And they know that thanks to our growth as back market, they can like trade in more and more smartphone at a good price because refurbishing factories are going to, want those products to sell them and grow their business throughout back market. So kind of any carriers is interesting by our program.
And who are your kind of main users of back market?
Our main users actually are everyone. At the beginning, we thought we were going to target just mostly young people because we decided to take the one tone of voice a bit special, dedicated for let's say people between 18 and 30 years old. But in the end, what we see is everybody is interested in buying a product, tech, cheaper with warranty. So it's really mainstream actually what we are addressing. It's not just young people, it's also people from 50 years old, 40 years old, and because everybody is interested in tech.
Something I noticed while cycling in Europe is that they still use like very old model of electronics, like say radio or like I don't know, a record player, or I noticed that people still use those and kind of put value into it. And so but also that like every country has different preference for electronics they use, and so I guess it's kind of like it's partly divided by country and country. Do you see kind of that trend?
Yeah, of course. As we are opened in 6 different countries, we see that people are not looking for the same models or the same devices in the different countries, and that's perfectly fine for us because our refurbishing factories and ecosystem, they are selling in every country because we have shipping partnerships with global shipping carriers that help them to cross-border the merchandise. So that way they can address a demand with a product that, let's say a French refurbisher wasn't able to sell some devices in France because French consumers weren't interested. But some Spanish customer or Italian customer are really interested.
Yeah.
So, it creates flow rates for the products that you couldn't have before. So cross-border is really interesting for us.
So how does the business model work? So you take some percentage from the customers when they make purchase?
Yeah, exactly. We take a commission out of every transaction that is made through the platform, which make it really easy and simple for the sellers because we don't take the commission out of the consumer. We take it to the seller. So if he sells, then we both make money. If he doesn't, then nobody lose money either. So it's really a win-win partnership.
And what about the factories that you work with? Is it like partnership or is there?
Yeah, it's a partnership. Actually, it's those companies we are billing the commission. So the refurbishing factories are selling to the customers through back market. And according to the turnover they are making, we bill them from a commission fee. So if, for example, a factory is selling for $1 million this month, we will bill them from 10% commission. 10% commission.
From them?
From them, yeah.
Aha. Okay. So when was the company break even?
So the company is profitable in the mature countries, so such as France, which is the oldest one we started in. And it's we are investing money in the growing countries such as the US, for example, or Germany, right now, which we consider as key markets. Right now, this is how it works. We take the money we win out of the contributive countries that we are already maturing in order to invest and to bring awareness to the customers in the new markets we are opened.
Mm-hmm. And since you're now like in the market for more than 4 years now, so you kind of observe you also have the big data from all the transactions and everything. And how do you like really make use of that?
It's a good question. Data is not everything, but it's really gold for us because all the data we gather from the millions of people coming and buying through the platform, we use it to bring intelligence to the refurbishing factories that they didn't have elsewhere. So we help them to buy the right product at the right time at the right price, and that's really useful for them because otherwise they could buy like stocks that they wouldn't be able to sell and lose money out of it. Thanks to our data and our tools we are providing, they are making more money, more volume, and more margins, and they can develop their business sustainably. It's bringing basically sustainability to the market. And we are also using a lot of data coming from the customers after transaction, after sales, in order to make the curation according to the quality. So we take all the ratings of the customer and all the after sales claims in order to feed our algorithm to make sure we always display the best quality offers to the customer. Mm-hmm. So the more data we have, it's directly correlated to our growth. The best we are in curating and offering the best offer to both the end customer and the refurbishing factories as well.
Mm-hmm. So what do you mean when you say you tell the factories to buy the product? Like you mean like factories sometimes reject products
we
receive?
It's not that they reject, it's that they don't, like let's take an example. Let's say a factory is selling 10 different models because it's been growing with those 10 models, but they don't know that there is a demand for 10 other models. Thanks to the demand, all the queries on the website, all the transaction we are making with the overall website, we can fulfill them opportunities to say, hey, you know what? Maybe you should also refurbish this and this and this product because you could make that many units and the facilities you have, the facilities that you've built could also refurbish this product apparently. So maybe you should take a look at this opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so okay. So how much % does the mobile phone market take?
The mobile phone market in general is taking, like I would say, 50% of the global refurbished market. What's interesting is that the smartphone is really the top refurbished product. But what we've observed is it's growing significantly on other categories as well, such as tablets, audio, computers, but also home appliances. So basically people just used to know about smartphones being refurbished, but now we see the awareness on other kind of products, which is really cool.
Then what if I have a coffee machine or microwave at home that I want to put it to the factory? Then should I bring it, or do you come and like pick it up?
So that's a services we've been working on for the past let's say year and a half. Right now we've designed and we have launched the buyback services to the customer. We are testing it and it's really showing great results in France. So it concerns smartphones, tablets at the moment. So the next step would be to release it in every country, such as the US and other European countries first. and at the same time we are working on other categories. It's a really big challenge, but because, for example, microwave is big, so logistically it's different. It needs to a different system, logistic system, to pick it up at your place, make it refurbished, and then sell it back again. But we're definitely working on it.
Mm-hmm. And also, I realized that now European customers, they use a lot of Chinese smartphones. Like, it was something that I didn't observe, for example, like 7 or 8 years ago. Now I see like many more very different brands have like demand in European market. And I mean, how do you see the like mobile phone kind of like market share in Europe right now?
You're right. It's interesting for us to see that because as back market, we are always, our best seller are always the 1 year old, 1 or 2 years old. So we see that the market shares among manufacturers are moving, and you have Chinese brand and not only Chinese, Asian brands that are emerging really fast and taking some market shares out of some American manufacturers. So yeah, it's interesting. Actually, we are following the market on that. We as back market don't really care about who is the top brand winning, because our vision again is to make refurbished mainstream, whatever the brand. Products need to circulate.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. People are consuming more and more different brands today.
It's very interesting because like in China, Shenzhen, people start with like making a lot of different like smartphone brands there, and you're the one like across the country, you're the one who's refurnishing it. So it's very interesting. But I mean, in that terms, are you talking to China in any ways, or?
We are talking to basically everyone in the world right now, because it's a global market. What we observe is refurbishing is mostly local initiative at the first place, because you don't want to pay too much logistic cost. But we have some US companies, some Asian companies that are starting their business and expanding in Europe with local warehousing. We are also seeing it in the US. European and Asian company in the US having refurbishing facilities implemented. So it's really getting global after all, because this product, those tech products, originally they've been sold everywhere in the world. So everybody is interested in buying them.
And are you working on any other kind of like high technology, such as artificial intelligence or blockchain? What are your?
We are working on our algorithm, which is really core of back market system. Our job is to make the right access to the customer to the refurbished products. And in order to make it right, you want to make the best curation. We are just showing the top offer to the customer, and our choice on our curation is based on one algorithm that uses tons of data, millions of data we're gathering from customers, and we are building models to bring intelligence to this curation algorithm, and it's really impressive what those guys, the data scientists within back market, are doing, and I think for the future of back market, this algorithm will be even more strategic and key, to answer to the demand in the right way, to each customer in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
we are not using blockchain to answer the last part of your question. It's something we could look at, but at the moment we are focused on quality and curation and make handle the growth that we are facing.
Mm-hmm. Can you kind of share us the sales figure?
Yeah, I can share you a few numbers. Let's see what I can tell you. Like in terms of volume, last year we had an interesting KPI. We had over 1 million customers. So which is it's been the target, and we really overcame this target. So we're really proud of this because the more people reconsuming product, the less new product are consumed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good within back market company to, you know, we have this graph that we are following, and we are really lucky to have this. Is the more we grow, the more positive impact we have. In many businesses, you don't have this chance because the more you grow, you don't know if it's positive or not for the global impact, like the social impact, the environmental impact, or the customer in the end. But for us, it's the more we grow, it means that we sell more refurbished, so less new products are sold basically, and it's socially really interesting because refurbished, it's a lot of handiwork, a lot of accuracy in the refurbishing process, so it's people working, and so it's employment, which is really good. It's better for the planet because the more we use, the best it is for the environmental impact. So I mean, like everybody within back market has been driven by this vision and this graph, you know. So let's make it as big as possible, you know. It means it will be better for everyone.
Mm-hmm. So what are the challenges for the company? I mean, because as far as I know, like when you refurnish the cell phone, there are parts that you cannot ultimately recycle. I mean, of course, this will be like cost for the factory to dump them. But I mean, what are the challenges for the company?
You mean the challenges for the refurbishing processes?
Yeah, or the companies.
For the company, for back market, our main challenge is to bring awareness to the whole world, basically, on all the market we are opened in. That it makes more sense to consume refurbished than new. Tech industry hasn't been challenged on how we deal with resources.
That's right.
Lately, we are not the only one. There are great initiatives everywhere, but still we are a bit pioneer on this. So bringing awareness to the customer is our main challenge. You know. That this is the right solution, we believe, for the global stakes of the world right now in terms of how do we use our resources in a better way, you know. So that's the biggest challenge, and we are to be more pragmatic and accurate. We need the best talent within the company, within back market, to bring this solution to the market. So. Basically a lot of engineers to develop the right system, and we have tons of new services in mind and that we have been developing lately that needs to be put at scale right now. Mm-hmm. So having the good people on board, good talents, is also the main challenge of the company.
Mm-hmm. What about the refurnishing process, as you mentioned?
So the refurbishing process, the main challenge is, you know, the manufacturers, the frequency of the new devices coming out is accelerating. So new products means new tech challenge to refurbish. You have to find the right component, the right way to open the product, to operate, to change the battery, to change the button. So it's always about adapting fast to the new product that has been released, and factories have to adapt fast, to the new and the frequency of the new product being released. That's the main challenge, and find the right solution to refurbish in the right way.
And also, I want to ask about the startup ecosystem in Paris in general. I mean, I bet France might have very certain like sectors they're very good at. And can you kind of mention what are those clusters and sectors are?
I think in France we have a very dynamic ecosystem of startups, mostly due to the fact that we have great engineer schools. We have top class engineers, which is really a pleasure because you can give birth to great ideas and initiative thanks to that. And the government is pushing toward startups and creating disrupting systems. I love many startups in the French ecosystems. Maybe I can just name some of them.
Sure.
That I think are doing a great job. I think Mano Mano is doing a great job building a global marketplace as well on a different market, but still really focused on one vertical. I think we have a great scale at Open Classroom. Is a great idea as well and a great execution. And I think we can be proud of that. And I would name those two startups. And I think they are doing a great job.
And when you expand to other countries, is it like more like French-speaking countries? I mean,
No.
I don't know if they even consider African market for like expansion, or is it more like US market or like neighboring countries like you do?
Most of the time you start with neighboring countries, especially back market because logistically it's easier to cross-border merchandise and the currency is the same. So currency politics is stable and logistically it makes sense as well. It's not too expensive because the delivery is not too long. And after, if it's a pure software companies, it goes really often to the US. What's interesting is more and more entrepreneurs here in France are thinking about being global faster than before. More and more, when you start and you launch a startup in France, you're thinking, okay, my service, is it going to work like globally, or is it just solving a local problem? Africa is not the top priority market, I would say, because it's suffering from the fact that they have not political stabilities everywhere, so it can bring anxiety to the investors when you develop there. Is it going to remain stable? But I think personally that Africa, for back markets, would be really big because there is a demand for second-hand and refurbished devices there, and some devices will meet demand there that they don't meet in Europe. So it makes sense, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Thibaud, thank you so much for all your insights. It was a very good conversation I had.
Thank you very much to you.
Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll come back to you guys next time. So bye everyone.
Bye bye.